Hello, welcome to Practical C++ Programming. My name is Zach, and in this tutorial we will be discussing function parameters. Now, function parameters are a pretty simple topic once you get your head wrapped around it. And in the previous tutorial we discussed functions, and we did something like this. We put string print name, and basically we would just say string name equals Zach, and then we would say return name, and then down here we did something like cout print name, and when we ran it we got the name Zach to appear in the console. Well, with parameters you can specify in the main function a value that you want to pass to the function that you're calling. So meaning basically if we go up here, if we want to return a name that or any name specified, then we can add a parameter right here that says data type string, because the name is probably going to be a string, and we'll call it name. Okay, and then this function will return the parameter name that is passed to it. So here if we say cout print name, we have to pass it a parameter, a string value. We can call it Jim, and when we run this it will print the name Jim, because Jim is being passed as name into this function, and it's returning the name, which is Jim. And as I said, we can change this to Sam, and then Sam will be printed just like that. And just to kind of show you, you can pass in multiple parameters. So we could pass in int age, and if we just ran this as it is, we would get an error because we have to pass in another value. So we'll pass in 17, and then it will run. Obviously it's still just going to print Sam because we aren't doing anything with age. But I just kind of wanted to show y'all an introduction on parameters and how to use them in functions. So maybe let me do one more example before we move on, because I want to kind of give you a little bit more insight on how to use these. So we're going to say right here we'll say string print name, and it will pass in a name, and then let's make another one called int age. We'll pass in, or we'll call it get age, and we'll pass in a double. We'll just call it X. We won't call it age, just to show you that this is user defined. You can call it whatever you want, and we'll return X. Okay, and then here what we will do, we will say cout enter a name. Let's give us let's say string name, and then double age. We'll say enter a name, and then we'll say cn name, and then cout. Give it a couple of new lines with our new formatting characters that we learned. We'll say enter an age, cn age, and then we'll say cout. Give it a couple of lines. We'll say your name is, we'll say get name. Is that what we called it? What did we call it? We called print name. Okay, so we'll say print name. We'll pass in name that we got from the keyboard input, and then we'll say, we'll go down here just to show you that you can do this and see in code blocks. This is all going to be seen as one line of code, even though it's on two different lines. So we'll say print name, and then you are get age. We'll pass in age that we got from the user input, and we'll say years old, just like that. And when we run it, we'll say enter a name, and that name will be, we'll just say Jim. Enter an age, 23, and it'll say your name is Jim and you are 23 years old. And that was the result of passing those values to these functions as parameters. So that's it on parameters. Stay tuned, and we'll get to talking about passing by reference and function overloading. Thank you.